Only 10 participants.
Okay, good afternoon, all students. I welcome you to this session, today's session. Last week, we had a session on communication. Before that, we had understanding work teams. So if there are any doubts or points you want to talk about, I request you to talk or ask the doubts regarding the last session, especially the communication.
Sir, I have one point.
Yeah, please.
No, that was a wonderful class because the PPT also you shared so kindly. Only one point I wanted to add. In communication, there is one what we call a short circuiting.
Short circuiting, okay.
Yeah. Because what happens in vertical hierarchy, the person at the highest level will directly contact the person at the lower level. Then in
Correct.
between, the middle level manager is unaware of what is happening.
Correct.
This, if the organizational context demands, one thing which is followed is immediately the person who is being contacted, he should inform is the reporting officer. That is one discipline followed.
Okay.
That's one. And then the second point is the transaction analysis also, which is one special techniques. It completes the wholeness of communication grid. That is whatever the sender wanted to say, it is understood in the proper way or not by the receiver. This one point
Okay.
I just wanted to say, sir.
Okay. Very good. Very good.
Thank you, sir.
In fact, when we are discussing about small group networks, we have discussed about diagonal communication also, but that would happen only in the self-managed teams. Wherever the teams are organized in the nature of self-managed teams where there is no formal leader. So there, the communication not only flows upward, downward, lateral, but it also uh, uh, takes place diagonally also. That means one can approach the other person who is at a higher level, not in the chain of command, or in the lower level, again, not in the chain of command. That is diagonal communication. And as you are rightly pointed out, it is also called short circuiting the communication network. And second very important point you have pointed out is that whenever you are communicating with any other person in the organization who is not in the chain of command, it is always desirable to communicate the nature of communication you had with the other person, short-circuiting the normal channel. So that is very important. Keeping the boss always informed is a very good practice so that there is no communication gaps between the sender and his own boss. That will always protect both the persons, both the sender and his own boss, and he will be in the communication loop. That's very good point. Both the points you have mentioned. One point, that second point, I think I have not covered in the last session. Thank you for adding those inputs. Till now, I only see 11 participants. Should we wait for some time, or shall we go ahead with the session, today's session?
We can start, sir. They will join.
Okay, right. So I'll start listen. Just a minute. Give me 1 minute.
Right, sir. Now.
Yeah, I am presenting my screen. Is this slides visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir. Visible.
Good. Yeah. So far, we have covered many important topics in our syllabus of organizational behavior. So far, we have covered about 13 units. And now we are going to start the leadership section, which is having basically 3 units. 3 units on leadership. That is, first unit is based having traditional theories, wherein we'll discuss about behavioral theories. And as a part of that, we'll be discussing Ohio State studies, University of Michigan studies, Lake and Mountain managerial grade. Apart from this, we'll also study Iowa State studies, Iowa leadership studies. Then we'll have another unit on leadership, that is containing contingency theories of leadership, wherein we'll talk about Fred Fiedler's theory, then Hershey-Blanchard's situational theory, path goal theory, and also nurturant task leadership theory. Then we'll go to the contemporary issues in leadership. What is charismatic leadership, transformational leadership, transactional leadership, ethics and leadership. These are all the 3 units which we'll be covering on leadership theories. And in the same block, we also are having conflict and negotiation and conflict process stages that we will take up after completing the leadership theories. So I hope I'll be able to complete these 3 units on leadership, 14, 15, and 16, today and tomorrow. Let me see how it will actually go on. So coming to leadership theories, we all understand the importance of leadership in organizations. Leadership is a very, very important topic, very, very important factor in success of any organization. So in fact, I can say that leadership starts from oneself. That is your own self. When it is taken up from your own point of view, it is your own personal understanding, your own unique directions, your own pressures and desires, finding yourself And once you have understood yourself in a better manner, then you can carve out a niche or direction for yourself. Once you create that niche for yourself, be it good or bad, you will realize that people will gradually come to you and join you, provided you have conviction and courage about whatever you are doing. So I hope you all will pay due attention to this leadership theories, which we are going to discuss. And I hope you all will be able to lead in your own life, in your own sphere of activity, whatever you choose. With that, I will start this presentation. So, as I said, the leadership is very important topic in organizational behavior. You might have noticed that this has started as a part of social psychology, but it is adopted in all other fields also, including our organizational behavior. Because leadership is very important. A leader takes the organization forward, and he sees that the followers or the employees or the co-workers are satisfied and they give the required output and they perform very well in the organization, and the organization is able to achieve its goal and its vision and mission also. So I just want to highlight the importance of the topic of leadership. Here you can see that leadership is one of the most researched and most discussed topics in the field of organizational behavior. So if you type in leadership as the topic in Google and get the result, you may get millions of web pages and links for the topic of leadership. This data is taken some time back. At that time, it has thrown up 533 million web pages. In terms of our this thing, it is 53 crores web pages that are showing having leadership content. In Google Scholar, that is a place where all scholarly articles are published, in journals are published. It lists about 287,000 journal articles and books with leader or leadership in the title itself. The most famous e-commerce and bookstores, online bookstores, Amazon lists more than 31,000 books on English language with leadership in the title. The number of books or documents with the words either leader or leadership added to the US Library of Congress catalog. This is the most famous catalog which contains the famous books all over the world. In the past decade itself, more than 4 times the number that has been registered 2 decades earlier, that many books have been added in the US Library of Congress. And if we compare it to the early 1900s, it is about 48 times. That is 4,800% increase is there in the number of titles of the books containing leadership or the leader. That is the importance of leadership in organizational behavior. So before we start, I just wanted to present a small video of what makes a leader great. So I'll show you this.
Leadership is perhaps one of the Leadership is perhaps one of the most misunderstood subjects.
Are you able to hear and see the YouTube video, friends?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
business. Leadership has nothing to do with rank. I know many people who sit at the highest levels of an organization who are not leaders. We do as they tell us because they have authority over us, but we do not trust them and we do not follow them. I also know people at low levels of organizations that have no formal authority, but they've made a choice. The choice to look after the person to the left of them, the choice to look after the person to the right of them, and we would trust them and follow them anywhere. Leadership is the awesome responsibility to see those around us rise. You, every one of us, can choose to be the leader we wish we had. We lead our teams and we can lead our clients when we decide that we will do everything in our power to see them rise, to see them achieve their ambitions and their dreams. And this is what servant leadership means. I serve your dream rather than you serve my bottom line. And it's totally fine to have financial goals. It's totally fine to have metrics because that becomes the proof of value that somebody wants to give you their money because they believe in you. It is proof positive. But the best leaders I know are students of leadership. There's no such thing as an expert leader. It doesn't exist. Like there's no such thing as an expert parent. It doesn't exist, right? We are students of leadership. And even the most senior leaders constantly are reading books, reading articles, watching talks, having conversations all the time about leadership. They're always in learning mode. And I think for anyone who wants to be a leader, you have to choose to be a student of the subject, like anything. If you want to be good at something, you have to study it. And the most ignored characteristic of leadership, we talk about vision and charisma. Yes, these are important. But I've known some wonderful leaders who don't have huge world-changing vision. I've known some wonderful leaders that are quiet and sit in the corner, but they all have courage. The courage to advance a vision, the courage to ignore the short-term ups and downs of the business, the courage to take risks on people, the courage to believe in people, the courage to speak truth to power, the courage to do the right thing and have integrity. I think courage is a very undervalued characteristic of leadership. Leadership is perhaps
Okay, friends, have you seen the video?
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, are you able to recognize the person?
He
Okay.
looks like you, just like you.
Yes.
That was not the intention with which I presented.
No,
I just wanted to tell the importance of leadership and what qualities a great leader possesses. He's Simon Sinek.
Oh,
He's
he's famous, yeah,
very famous author.
author.
Yes, his book called um, Start with Why. Start with
Okay.
Why, very famous. If you have a chance, you just read, because for doing anything, you should know why you are starting it. So that is a very good starting steps to know what you are doing and why you are doing, and what is the importance of knowing what you are going to do beforehand. So this is a small video clip I just wanted to present about the leadership.
Very good.
Continuing, so just we see what are some definitions or some people, what the great leaders have said about leadership. So you all know Jack Welch. He's the CEO of which
General
famous
Electric.
company? GE, General Electric.
Yeah.
He was the CEO for a long term. What he said about leadership, before you are a leader, success is all about growing yours. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others. He has rightly highlighted the importance of helping others to succeed and grow in the organization and making impact on others and also the organization. And former president of the US, Ronald Reagan, he said that greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He is the one that gets the people to do the greatest things. So he has changed the focus. It is not about the person or the leader. It is about the person allowing the other people, his followers, to do greatest things. When the greatest things are done by his followers, the leader himself will feel very happy and satisfied. So coming back to leadership, leadership is the ability to influence a group towards the achievement of a vision or set of goals. Leadership, as you can see, it is a process of interpersonal relationships wherein a person is attempting to influence the behavior of others for attaining the predetermined objectives or the goals of the organization. Here, when we are talking about others, others essentially means the other members of the group. Or in general, when we are talking about leadership, we talk about the followers. That means all other members will be called as also the followers because they are led by other group member who is acting as a leader. Then organizations need strong leadership and strong management for optimal effectiveness. When do we lead? When do we need strong leadership and when do we need a strong management? It is basically leaders are needed when you need to tackle with change that is required to be brought about in the organization. Whereas managers are required to cope with complexity. That means they will have to deal with day-to-day management issues and see that organizational effectiveness is ensured. So here we can see that leaders are needed to challenge the status quo. They should create visions of the future and also inspire organizational members or followers to achieve the visions set forth before them. When we see the researchers who have done research on the leadership, they have defined the leadership in many possible ways. Some of the ways in which they defined are, it is defined as a process in which an agent induces a subordinate to behave in a desired manner. Here, the reference to agent is about the leader. The leader induces a subordinate to behave in a desired manner to achieve the goals, to be effective in the task that they do. Then the process of influencing an organized group towards accomplishing its goals. Also, actions that focus. Leadership means actions that focus resources to create desirable opportunities. Then leadership also is creating conditions for a team to be effective. Leader takes a big role and sees that his team is effective and successful in achieving its goals. It is also defined as the ability to get the results and the ability to build teams. Both. You have to focus on results also and you have to build the teams also. These represent the what and how of leadership in essence. Some definitions we'll just quickly glance through on leadership. Prentice defined leadership as the accomplishment of a goal through direction of human assistance. A leader is one who successfully marshals his human collaborators to achieve particular ends. Then Northouse defined leadership as a process whereby an individual influences a group of individuals to achieve a common goal. This is a very succinct definition of leadership. It is a process whereby an individual, that means leader, influences a group of individuals, that is followers, to achieve a common goal. Then leadership is also a process of giving a purpose, that is meaningful direction to the followers, to collective effort and cause willing effort to be expended to achieve the purpose. This definition is given by Jacobs and Jakes. So other definitions are also given. You can just go through them. So coming back, what is leadership?
Actually,
Yeah.
sorry. Oh, sorry. Kindly carry on, sir.
Sorry, friends. I think there was some error and I got disconnected. Are you all able to see the video and hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Yeah. When viewed from the followers angle, it is the ability and motivation to manage one's own performance. Basically, it is applying to both the leader as well as the followers. But more important is that of the followers, whose ability and motivation is required to manage their own performance that leads to organizational effectiveness and reaching the goals. Then another angle is there, like relationship. There is a relationship between the leader and the follower that is based on trust, respect, and mutual obligation that generates influence between the parties, both parties, the leader and the follower. What are they? What are the things that are helping the relationship? Trust, respect, and mutual obligation. So when we see the from the definition of the leadership, some are based on the traits, some are based on the process. So when we see that it is based on the traits, what are the traits of leaders that are saying that they have the potential to become leaders? It can be height, it can be intelligence, it can be extroversion, it can be fluency, or any other traits. So between the leader and followers, this connection happens, and that connection is based on the traits displayed by the leader. Then, as regards the process definition of leadership, it says that the leader and followers are connected through several interactions, that is the behavior of both the leader and also the followers. I request all the participants to keep themselves muted. Next, some principles of leadership have been given by Dr. Bhattacharya, and he has told about some 10 to 12 principles. Just I wanted to highlight, the leaders must know themselves and continuously seek self-improvement. Leaders, they must be technically very proficient. Leaders must seek responsibility and take responsibility for their actions. They cannot throw the blame on others. Whether the subordinates or followers succeed or fail, it is the responsibility of the leaders, and they should be willing to take that responsibility. Otherwise, the leaders, the followers will lose their faith in the leader. Leaders must make sound and timely decisions. This is a very critical factor. Otherwise, his leadership cannot be established, and the organization will not benefit if the leader is procrastinating and taking time to take decisions. Rather, he postpones decisions and he misses several opportunities also. Then leaders must set an example himself or herself so that it becomes a guiding principle for the followers. Leaders must know people, that means all their subordinates, and also think about their well-being, the subordinates and followers' well-being. Leaders must keep the followers informed. They should always be in touch with the followers and keep giving them the directions, updates about the progress of the task on hand. Leaders must develop a sense of responsibility in their followers. This is very important. When delegation is given, so the followers have to take ownership of the task, and they should develop a sense of responsibility for doing it on time and the way it is required. Leaders must ensure that the tasks are well understood, supervised, and accomplished by the followers. Leaders must train the followers as a team. That means a lot of coordination and cooperation and collaboration has to happen within the team. Otherwise, the team will not be effective. They have to work together. All the members have to work together as a team. The way we see in many sports and games. In sports, we are seeing day in and day out, like cricket, football, all these sports, all the members of the team, they work together to win the games. Then leaders must develop full capabilities of the organization. This is also very important principle of leadership. Leadership, let us see a brief distinction between leadership and management, because all these are not covered in the textbook. But before we go into the leadership theories and understand the nitty-gritties of leadership and how the leaders behave, it is essential to know what is leader, who is a leader and who is a manager, what is leadership and what is management. That's why I am presenting briefly about these topics. So the word management suggests words like efficiency, planning, paperwork, procedures, rules and regulations, control, monitoring, consistency. All these, whenever we are talking about these words, it refers to the activity of the management. Whereas leadership is more associated with words like risk-taking, dynamic action, creativity, bringing change, and living up to the vision and realizing the vision that has been set forth. So that whenever we are talking about these topics like risk-taking, dynamism, creativity, we are referring in essence to leadership, but not management. Some say that leadership is mainly a value-choosing activity. It is fully value-loaded, that the activity is not performed by the management. It is only done by the leadership. Leaders are going to do only what is right, not the right things. Right things is the domain of, doing right things is the domain of the leaders. Sorry, doing right things are the domain of the leaders, whereas managers are going to do only things right in the right manner. That is to ensure that efficiency and effectiveness are brought by them. Just a comparison of managers and leaders. Managers, they simply administer and copy. They maintain the status quo. They see that the organization is running smoothly with the rules and regulations and given the structure. They focus on the systems and structure of the organization. They mainly rely on control through communication, coordination, motivation, and all these factors controlling the behavior of individuals and the groups. Then they take only a short-term view of the things. Their main concern is how to improve the bottom line. That means how to increase the profits or reduce the losses. This is mostly applicable for mainly corporate sector. Then these people ask the questions like how and when, not what and why. How to do it, when to do it. Then they accept the status quo. They are not the agents of change. They will only accept status quo and go with the flow. To say it simply, he is a classic good soldier. Managers just simply follow the rule book and see that the work goes on smoothly. They are doing the work of a soldier. They are not captains or commanders of the organization. They are interested in doing things in the right way. Okay. Then coming to leaders, they are the people who focus on bringing innovation and originality in the processes and products, the way organization works. They were interested in developing the people below them. Their main focus is on the people, not just the tasks or the bottom line. They inspire trust by being honest, open, and helping others. They inspire trust in themselves and also by being role models themselves. They take a long range view. They just don't see the quarterly results or how things are taking place in the short term. They have a perspective, say 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, what will be the state of the organization, how it will be progressing. That is the horizon they keep in their mind. Then they ask very critical questions like what and why. What is to be done? Why it is to be done? I told you, about the person who has written the famous book, Start With Why. So the leaders ask the important question of what and why. They challenge the status quo. They are not happy with whatever is, but they challenge the status quo and change the rule books and the way things work in the organizations. This all we'll see in more detail when we come to the third topic on contemporary leadership, wherein we'll discuss about transformational leadership. Then leader is his own person. He is not acting on behalf of others, nor he is influenced by his subordinates or others. He is interested only in doing the right things. That is value-laden. That is why it's called. He follows all ethical principles and sees that only the right things. And for example, here, I have recently come across an example given by Indra Nooyi, who was the CEO of PepsiCo. At that time, there were lots of complaints about the health hazards of drinking Pepsi Cola. So she has ensured that, simply not ignoring them, she has ensured that good research is done and the products are modified. That is, her Pepsi Cola is modified to see that the calorie content, the sugar level content are reduced and at the right, and the taste is not also modified. And that is the leader. That is what the leaders do. That is doing the right things. They are not simply carried away by doing the things right. Doing things right, if it is if she was simply a manager, what she would have done? She would have just focused on what is going on, how to keep earning the same level of profits or increase. But she has focused on the right things, taking care of the situation in the environment and responding to the environment. That is how the organizations grow. When we see leaders and managers, just another comparison. Manager is the person who takes the role by virtue of his position. Whereas leader is on the basis of personal qualities, mostly on the basis of personal qualities. Then formal rights, the manager has definitely formal rights in the organization because of his position, the post he is holding, the position he is holding. No such rights are, however, available to the leader. No formal rights are available to the leader. And as regards the followers, the subordinates working under the managers are said to be the followers. But in case of leader, a group of employees whom he leads are called the leaders. Anybody, whether they are subordinates or just his colleagues, equal level, or sometimes even superiors also may be in the teams. So anybody who is in the team, they are called followers. So normally when we think of leadership, we only think of the leader and the follower. But apart from these two factors, leaders and followers, there is another important factor, that is the situational angle. That is also very important. So that's why we need to keep that also in mind when we are understanding the leadership, the concept of leadership. So before we go into the theories, I just wanted to give you a brief as to how leader will get his influence. Unless the leaders influence the followers and get the things done, the followers are not successful, they are not satisfied, they are not happy, and even the leader also fails. So how does the leader get his power? Where from he is getting the power to influence the followers? Just a second. So friends, we have already seen the definition of leadership. It is simply the ability to influence a group towards the achievement of a vision or a set of goals of the organization. So leaders use power as a means of attaining the group goals. Leaders achieve goals, and power is a means of facilitating the achievement of their goals. Without power, they will not be able to achieve the goal. So what is power? Power is the ability to get others to do what one wants to do them. That is what the leader wants. The followers have to do what the leader wants. That is the power of the leader. It is his ability to get the things done by the followers. So power refers to a capacity that A has to influence the behavior of B. Here you can take that A is the leader and B is the follower. So how A will influence B? So that B acts in accordance with A's wishes. That means the follower acts in accordance with A's wishes. It doesn't simply happen just by saying, but there has to be some kind of power behind the leader so that the work gets done. The follower follows the instructions or the directions of the leader. So there are basically two kinds of power that is in the hands of the leader. One is position power, other is personal power. In case of positional power, again, there are three kinds of power. One is reward, second is coercive power, and third is legitimate power. What is reward power? Reward power is the ability to give rewards or take away the negative sanctions against the follower. So what are the kinds of power that can be exercised under the reward power? The leader can increase the money or the package of the follower. He can give the time off for compensating the work done extra. Also allowing the holiday or vacation at certain periods. Then giving as work assignments. Sometimes a person can be punished even by not giving any work assignment. You may be seeing, for example, in IT sector, Some people may not be given assignments at all, and they will be sitting on bench for months together. That also can happen. Then favorable performance appraisals. This is a very key factor, which is most wanted by the subordinates. Then promotions, interesting work assignments. The leaders or the managers will give interesting work assignments to the people from whom they want to get the work done. Then friendly colleagues and preferred work shift. Sometimes they are able to change the work shift. Somebody is working in night shift for continuously, so they want day shift. So that kind of change also can be given. That is the kind of reward power that is exercised by the manager. Then coming to coercive power. Coercive power is the ability to apply punishment to the follower or the subordinate. What are the forms of coercion? These include criticisms, termination from employment, reprimands, giving warnings, giving suspension for some time. That means they are not given any work. They are taken off from the duty. Then negative performance appraisal. If the work is not good, or if the manager doesn't like, then also he or she may get negative performance appraisal. Then demotion. Sometimes even the demotion can happen. This happens mostly in the government sector, where a person is demoted from one position to the lower position. When some serious frauds are committed, or unwanted behavior is done by the follower or the subordinate. Then the third important power is legitimate power. This refers to the extent to which the manager can use the right of command to control other people. Just by asking something to be done, he can get the things done. That is the legitimate power. This power is received by the person who is exercising it as a result of his position in the formal hierarchy of the organization. Suppose it is the vice president or a general manager or a manager, he is receiving his legitimate power by holding that post or position. So when you are holding a post or position, as a part of your legitimate power, you have the authority for exercising both coercive power and also reward powers. So legitimate power, however, is broader than power to coerce and reward. Not just that. Suppose I am working as a director and there is another director. So I want some information to be compiled immediately and to be given. So by exercising my positional power, legitimate power, I can ask the other director to give the information. What does this mean? I am not exercising any coercive power or reward power in this case. Simply by holding a particular position, I am able to get the thing done. That is called legitimate power. Then coming to personal power. Personal power is resident in the person itself. It can be in the form of the expertise he has over technical expertise or other professional expertise, knowledge he has, or the charisma of the individual himself. These are the two ways of personal power. So expert power can be based on the expertise, technical expertise he has, some special skills he has, which others do not possess, or deep knowledge the person has in his sphere of activity. And the second power is that of referent power or charisma. This is developed out of admiration of another and also a desire to be like that person. That means, for example, all great leaders have their charisma, like everybody wants to follow. For example, great leaders like Mahatma Gandhi or Nelson Mandela. So we develop an admiration for them and we want to be follow like them. So when we see the contours of power, you can see that the sources of power we have already discussed, like legitimate power, reward power, coercive power, expert power, and referent power. These are the 5 power bases which which can influence others to get the work done by the manager or the leader. But along with these sources of power, there are other things also that can need to be taken into account. What are the contingencies of power? Substitutability. Suppose the person is asking something to be got done by the other. This person, he will be able to get it done only when he is not substitutable. The leader is not substitutable. Suppose I am the leader of a technical team or the team managing one business account of a big client. I'm working for a major IT firm. And suppose I take one day off on the crucial day of meeting with the client. I cannot be substituted. So I am going to exercise more power than simply any of these powers. That means non-substitutability has given me additional power. Then centrality. That the person who is asking for thing to be done, he is central to the activity. If without him, it cannot be got done. Then comes visibility. Visibility means not only you should be doing the work, you should also become visible. The person who is visible has more power to get the things done through others. Then discretion. When the person is able to exercise discretion, he is having a power over others. He will simply decide when to give reward or not reward. That kind of discretion also he can have. That is the contingencies of power that will also influence the power over others. Now we have seen the power of the leader and why the follower has to follow. There are three things here. You can see that there can be resistance by the follower or subordinate. There can be compliance, or there can be commitment. These are all in a state of continuum. These are all in a continuum of cooperation by the employee. So when the manager is exercising coercive power, there is always resistance. If the work is to be done, he will resist and try to avoid. Suppose he is giving reward. So there is a compliance. Because of reward exchange theory, the employee or the subordinate or the follower will comply and do the work. And also the same thing happens when it is legitimate power that is exercised. And see the next thing. This is so beautiful. Like any expert or referent power that is exercised by, this is the vested in the person itself. This is the personal power of the leader. Through these personal powers, he is also not only is getting the compliance, but he is also getting more than that, the commitment to the goals of the organization, and he will do the needful as told by the leader. So that is the power of expert power and referent power. So these are some of the influence tactics used in organizations to get the things done. Silent authority, assertiveness, information control, coalition formation, upward appeal, persuasion, impression management, and exchange. You can just kindly go through. This is very briefly given so that you understand the concept of power and influence. Now coming to our theories of leadership. This is the first topic under leadership. What are these trait theories? Trait theories are founded on the characteristics or traits of different leaders. It is basically used to predict the effective leadership. It is trying to predict the effective leadership. Then what are the identified characteristics? The characteristics are identified in the potential leaders that determine the likelihood of their leading effectively. Whether or not with those traits, their persons will be successful to lead the teams effectively or not. So what are these traits? You can see that intelligence is one, people skills, interpersonal skills, decision making, creativity, competence, and trustworthiness. Among these theories or traditional theories, the first theory that was proposed based on these trait theories was the great person theory. This began the studies to understand about the leadership and what are the qualities a leader should have. What are the qualities of the head and heart of that make an effective leader? These are all the questions they have studied. Who becomes a leader? Does traits really matter? Are some people born to lead? Then leaders like Alexander the Great, Mahatma Gandhi, Abraham Lincoln, Nelson Mandela, these are not like any other person. They have special traits, special characteristics, special features that they become leaders. These are the questions that led to the formulation of great person's theory of leadership. So we talked about intelligence, sociability, charisma, confidence. In our textbook also, they have given majorly 5 traits of great persons. So when it comes to intelligence, we can think of, say, Steve Jobs. He is very creative and he has taken Apple to the next level. He has seen so many ups and downs, but his persuasion and creativity, it has seen that Apple company has grown by leaps and bounds. And self-confidence. Self-confidence, you can see in Barack Obama, who was twice the president of the US, he had tremendous self-confidence when he talks and addresses the people in public. Then determination. You can see that they are very determined. The leaders are very determined. The example of Oprah Winfrey. She has seen so many troubles, but determined to succeed. Then leadership motivation. That means the person, he has a drive to exercise authority, be in the leadership position, be in charge of the situation. Then flexibility. Flexibility is also one very important factor based on the assessment by the leader about the situation on hand. He should be able to change his leadership style or change the plan, change the goalposts or change the timelines. This kind of flexibility and adaptability the leader should have. And also the energy level. He will always be bubbling with energy and passion to do the things. These are all the traits of a great person who are born to lead. They are said that they are born to lead. They are not made. This initial theory was given by Thomas Carlyle in 1840. He suggested that great leaders are born, they are not made. Some other books say that this great person theory, trait theory, it says that leaders are made, but that is not correct. Traditionally, these theories, great man theory and the trait theory, they say that leaders are born, not made. So coming to this leadership theory, great person theory, great man model, this was there in Fiat company, that is a Italian great automotive manufacturer, Fiat company. You all know the Fiat company. The CEO, Sergio Marchionne, he was the CEO of Fiat company in 2008. And he said that we have abandoned the great man model of leadership that has long characterized Fiat and have created a culture where everyone is expected to lead. Normally, the people within the organization, all the employees, the followers, even the outsiders, depend on the formally appointed leaders, that is the CEO of the company, to lead. But this person, he himself being the CEO, he said that I am abandoning this model and I have created a culture where everyone is expected to lead. It is just not the duty of CEO alone. He has brought revolutionary changes. He has brought transformation of the company, Fiat company, in a very short time, 3 to 5 years. That we'll discuss when we come to transformational leadership. Then other studies that talked about the basic dimensions of personality under the trait theory. So we all have studied already all these big five traits or dimensions of personality. That is extroversion. Extroversion means outgoing, assertive, and active. Agreeableness, being kind, gentle, trusting, trustworthy. Not only they should exude trust and also be trustworthy of getting the trust from others. Then conscientiousness, being dependable, responsible, achievement-oriented, time-conscious. All these are also very important dimensions, factors. Then openness to experience. Being creative, imaginative, thoughtful. Then emotional stability. Being calm, secure, not depressed or not becoming moody. All these factors are also very important, are having an implication on the leadership. But friends, can you identify among these dimensions, only some dimensions are having an impact on the leadership and they are having relationship with the becoming leader, others are not. Can you please tell which are not related to, which of these dimensions are not related to leadership? Anyone?
Sir, maybe consciousness.
No, consciousness is very much related to leadership. It is dependent.
Emotional stability, sir, or neurotism.
Very good. That is one factor. And another one, other three are related. One you have already told, emotional stability. Can you guess among the other four, which one is not directly related to leadership?
Extroversion.
No, extraversion is very much needed.
Social. Okay.
It is openness to experience. That is not very much related to leadership. It is being, though we have talked about Steve Jobs, but there has not been sufficient evidence in the research that openness to experience and the emotional stability are linked to leadership. There is no evidence. But other three are very much there, like extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness. These three dimensions are very much related to developing leadership. What is the assumption of the trait theory? Trait theory says that leaders are born, they are not made. What is the goal here? To select the leaders. That means you will see whoever are having these traits and try to select them as leaders. What are the merits? Leaders tend to be consistently better adjusted. Influence of personality on one's effectiveness, like we have talked about these 5 dimensions. Some of those dimensions are having effectiveness in the leader's position. Then organizations would become sophisticated if traits could be identified. They will be able to have better leaders if the traits could be identified. But what are the problems? Like traits do not generalize across situations, from situation to situation. The traits required may be different. One trait, which is creativity or intelligence, may not work in a place where it is not required, like that. Then it is better at predicting the leader's emergence. You can only predict the person becoming a leader, but no, not about the leader's effectiveness. If the traits are there, it says that there is a possibility that this person can become a leader, but it cannot predict that the leader will be effective. Both emergence of leader and effectiveness, both are important when we are studying the leadership study, the leadership theories. And there is no consistent pattern has emerged about the traits that there's relation to the effectiveness of the teams and success in their realization of the goals. Continuing with the criticism of the theory, different authors have given different traits. There is no uniformity. That is another drawback. And there are no standardized tests to measure the degree of traits in the persons whom we are trying to select as leaders. Then we have seen that there are some leaders who are successful without even presence of all these required traits. Sometimes simply by the situational by adapting to the situation, they become successful. So the trait theory doesn't hold good. Then this theory doesn't hold the impact of other factors like the subordinates, the followers, the production, and the environment, etc. It only simply focuses on the traits of the person. And then there is no use of these traits as long as the leader doesn't imbibe them or put them into action. Like he has great creativity, great intelligence, but if he's not using, then it is of no use. That's why they could become a leader, but they are not effective because they are not putting all those traits into action. Then coming to the behavioral theories. What does this behavioral theory say? The behavior theory is focusing on specific behaviors and actions of the leaders than simply focusing on their traits and characteristics. It says that effective leadership is the result of many learned skills. These are all learned skills. It is not necessary that the leaders are only to be born. Then what are all the skills that are required to lead? Technical skills, human skills, interpersonal skills. That means people skills they call. Then conceptual skills. All these skills are very, very important. Human skills are required to interact with other individuals, that is group members, subordinates, higher-ups, or outsiders. That is, there is a human skills will help. Then conceptual skills. When a leader is holding a position, he has to develop the ideas, he has to evaluate the ideas and see that he's taking the right decisions and also solving problems. So conceptual skills are required to run the organization very smoothly. So this we have understood that leadership behaviors can be taught. It is not that leaders are always born. This is the essence of behavioral theories. Then the difference between behavioral theory and trait theory. Trait theory is focusing on study of personal characteristics, whereas behavior theory is focusing on the behaviors and actions of the leaders, how he is becoming effective. Then trait theory's end result is, the focus is only on trying to separate leaders from non-leaders. That means the persons who are having those traits, they will be identified and selected as leaders. That is the only purpose of these trait theories. But whereas behavioral theory, it is focusing also on the followers' performance and satisfaction. The actions and the behavior of the leader, how they are having effect on the performance and satisfaction and leading to goal achievement. Then there were 3 major studies done under behavioral theories. The first one is Iowa Leadership Studies. Second one, Ohio State's Leadership Studies. Third one is Michigan Leadership Studies. When you are asked about, the leadership theories under behavioral model, you have to write these theories. These Iowa Leadership Studies, they were conducted in the year 1939 by 3 people, Lippitt, White, and Levin. Have you heard any of these people's names in first year? Anybody? Do you remember?
Lipid theory might be there, sir.
Kurt Lewin theory. What theory did he give? Field theory. I think probably it is coming in counseling psychology, maybe. Kurt Lewin theory. Right? So here what they have done, they have tried to assess the impact of 3 leadership styles. So they have done, how they have done it? They have selected 10-year-old school boys. They have formed 3 groups of 5 to 6 boys in each group. Common tasks were given to all these 3 groups, which were making paper masks, model aeroplanes, and also painting wooden toys. These were the 3 tasks given to the the group members in each group. However, these groups were led by an adult, that is not a schoolboy, not a teenager or whatever. He is an adult, full-grown adult, was given the role of leadership. And for each of these groups, 3 different styles of leadership was asked to be exercised. So what are they? They are autocratic style, democratic style, and laissez-faire style. These are the 3 leadership styles that were studied through this experiment by these 3 researchers. So what is the meaning of these 3 styles? Under autocratic leadership, all decisions are centralized. It will be only taken by the leader of the group, that is superior. In democratic style, all decisions are taken through consultation and mutual consent within the group members. Then laissez-faire, all decisions are taken by the subordinates. There is no involvement of the leader in this style. Then who is having authority? In autocratic style, it is centralized. It is lying only with the superior. In democratic, it lies both in the leaders and followers because it is decentralized. There is consultation, collaboration, and mutual discussions. In laissez-faire, it lies only with the subordinates. The leader doesn't take any role. As far as autonomy is concerned, in autocratic style, there is no autonomy, no freedom to the subordinates. As the leader directs and orders, the followers have to execute the things. Whereas in democratic style, some freedom is there because the directions are given by the leader. They have scope to participate in the discussion process, decision-making process. They are having some autonomy, but not 100%. In case of laissez-faire, it is full freedom is given to the subordinates because the leader doesn't take any role. Here, which kind of leadership is suitable where? In autocratic style, that will be useful only when employees are unskilled and uneducated. In this one, autocratic style will be helpful because the leader directs the task completion. He also gives the necessary resources. He explains how the things to be done. So autocratic style works in this situation. In democratic style, where the employees are comparatively more skilled and more knowledgeable, more educated, then the democratic style will hold good. Here, the autocratic doesn't do good at all. Then laissez-faire style, when the employees are completely skilled and educated, they don't need any direction. They don't need any motivation. They don't need any leader. In this kind of situation, laissez-faire style will be useful. This you can further go through each of these points I have given. Then comes to Ohio State leadership studies. Under these leadership studies, there were 2 major factors that have come up in these leadership studies. That is, one is initiating structure, the other is consideration. This initiating structure can be either high or low. Similarly, consideration can be low or high. So how this has come up? They have administered a leader's behavior description questionnaire, and based on the results, they have told either the leader is following initiating structure or consideration. Here it says that leadership can be learned. That means this is a behavioral theory, not a trait theory. There is no inborn trait. All these leadership skills can be taught and they can be learned by the persons to become leaders. So during those 1950s, leadership studies were conducted at this Ohio State and also University of Michigan. Ohio State studies These three people have conducted the studies: Fishman, Halpin and Winner, and Hemphill and Kunz. It resulted in creation of a questionnaire called LBDQ, Leader Behavior Description Questionnaire. That was the instrument used to assess the leadership style. So that questionnaire consisted of 150 questions based on the output. Either the leader is having consideration or initiating structure. These are the only two dimensions. What is consideration? Consideration says that the leader is friendly, is supportive, and compassionate to the followers. Whereas under initiating structure, the leadership style is the leader is imposing on subordinates. He will just be assuming a directing role. That is, he will give deadline, he will just assign tasks, and he will monitor. He will follow all standard operating procedures, standard procedures. These are the two styles. Basically, one is consideration, the other is initiating structure. So under correlational study, what they have found out, the turnover rate. What is turnover rate, friends, in organizational behavior?
Leaving. Employees leaving.
Employee turnover. Very nice. So employee turnover was negatively related with consideration and positively related to initiating structure. That means when the leader is following the initiating structure style, that is only directing and getting things done, then that was positively correlated. That means higher the structuring, higher the force, higher the direction, higher the turnover rate. That means people are leaving. But negatively correlated with consideration. When the leader is friendly, is supportive, compassionate, understanding the needs of the followers, and giving guidance, explaining things, explaining goals, then the turnover rate is low. So, however, it is not having any non-linear relationship completely. Up to a certain level, with increased consideration or decreased initiating structure, they have no effect on the turnover or the grievance rate. Next, how the leader is behaving. This we have already discussed. Under initiating structure style of the leader, he simply assigns the task to group members, directs the group to follow standard rules and regulations, lets the group members know what he is expecting from them. He makes it very clear at the beginning itself, what is the task and how they have to do and what is expected from them. Then he is only concerned about task completion. He is not concerned about the satisfaction levels of the followers. Under consideration style, leader listens to the group members. Then he is willing to make changes if any required. Then he is friendly, approachable. He is concerned about the people. So these are the two basic styles under Iowa leadership style. Ohio leadership style. Right. So till here, we can see if we have to map those earlier styles, what we have learned under Iowa leadership studies, where do we fit? Like autocratic, he is high on initiating structure behavior. Then laissez-faire, it will be low consideration, low initiating behavior, because the leader under laissez-faire doesn't bother about any of the things. He will just leave everything to the group. That means it will be low on initiating structure and also consideration. But if the leader is giving high value to the consideration, he is following the consideration mode, he is interested in maintaining better human relations. And if the leader is both high on initiating structure behavior and also consideration behavior, he is a democratic leader. Then what are the findings of these studies on Ohio state leadership studies? High consideration and low structure. High consideration and low structure will give high satisfaction to the members, low absenteeism, low turnover, But again, there is low performance. It is not up to the expected level. Then high initiating structure and low consideration. The employees or followers will be not very satisfied. There will be high turnover, high absenteeism, but there will be high level of performance. The task completion rate is very high. They will meet the standards. So when both dimensions are high, the performance and satisfaction are high. This we have seen and called it as democratic style. Then comes the Michigan leadership style. Under this style, this was done shortly after World War II. It is simply one-dimensional. Either it is based on production-oriented or employee-oriented. This became the beginning studies for going for newer leadership studies. So coming directly to this thing, so there they have found that there are basically two styles of leaders. One is production-oriented leader, the other is employee-oriented leader. Production-oriented leader, can you relate it to the Ohio State studies? It is similar to the initiating structure. Like the emphasis is only on technical or task-related aspects of the job. And employee-oriented style, it is similar to the consideration style of the Ohio State studies. Here, the emphasis is on maintaining interpersonal relations, taking personal interest by the leader in the needs and requirements of the employees, and accepting that individual differences are there among the members, and accordingly motivating them or directing them or guiding them. These are the two behavior styles that are given in the Michigan studies. Then another important one model that has been given, leadership model given by Blake and Morton. It is almost a combination of Ohio studies and Michigan studies. Similar dimensions are similar to consideration and initiating structure under the Ohio studies. So here they have said that there are two basic dimensions. That is concern for people. This is very much like consideration. The degree to which a leader considers the needs of their members, their interests, and takes interest in their personal development. Then the other style is concern for production.
Structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is equal to structure.
Yeah, this is equal to initiating structure.
Structure.
Here the leader emphasizes achievement of objectives, ensuring organizational efficiency, and getting high productivity in accomplishing the tasks. So using these two dimensions, they have mapped and found that there are 81 styles of leadership. It is by a 9x9 grade. That's why it is called a managerial grade. Friends, this is a very interesting leadership model and very interesting. You can see that there are 81 possible styles of leadership, but he has taken the extremes on in this grade, and he has identified 5 major styles, including the central one. So the first one is team leadership, that is high on. So on the x-axis, you can see that concern for tasks or results is given, that is similar to initiating structure or production oriented. So here the focus is on getting the task done, completion of the task. Then on the y-axis is concern for people, that is consideration, right? People orientation. So combining these various these two dimensions, he has said that there are basically 5 leadership styles. The first one is team leadership. Team leadership is scoring on 9-9 both. You can see that concern for people is at 9, and also concern for task is also high. That is 9-9. That is team leadership. Here the leader gives importance to both people and also the task. Then another leadership style is country club leadership. That is high on people, low on task. You can see that consideration is high at 9, whereas task concern for task is only at 1. So that is called, it is 1, 9, that is country club leadership. Then coming to bottom, it is impoverished leadership style. That is, he has no concern for either task or people. He just leaving is worse than a laissez-faire leadership style. So these are the people, if such kind of leadership is there in the organizations will not succeed. It is a dread for both the leaders